to have Brandon back for Friday's game. It was tough on him because he had been sick for 4 days beginning Sunday. He came to our workouts for about 2 minutes, and I sent him home just because he was not feeling very well at all. And then missed the first 3 days of school last week. Practice 1 day, and then we did throw him in there. I don't know if he felt the greatest, but we did play him, and he just gives us a different dimension offensively. His vision, his passing ability. I've said before, I think he's got the potential to be the best passer in Liberty basketball history. He's got great natural instincts of seeing the floor and being able to work the angles, and he's quick and he's unselfish. So that's going to make him a better passer too. So we're fortunate to have him back Friday, and he's going to have a big week this week too. Yes.
With him being gone, you had other underclassmen able to step up.
Right.
Reese Frizzell, Brandon Cardiff.
Right.
Brady Newland and Cody Winters.
Right.
What is that? How does that help them as they go, or what does that say about them being able to move up from the JV level?
That's a great question. We have had some underclassmen step up and fill some roles on the varsity at the varsity level. Basically, it's a compliment to them because those guys, a lot of our guys at the junior varsity level have played very well, and it's time for them to get rewarded for their efforts and their production. And so that's what they've done. That's what we've done. Is they've let it be known through their play in practice and in games that they deserve a shot. And so that's our job to allow that to happen in some capacity. Friday night, it was Brandon Cardiff's turn to start because we had an injury to Kyle Rutliff, and so Brandon took Rutt's spot in the starting lineup. Had 5 points, played really good defense, which I was pleased with, and knocked down some shots. So we've got that ability to reward some guys. And that's what we did, and they're earning more and more time. Yes.
Being that deep on the bench, how does that help you as you get into the latter part of the season? I know guys are starting to get fatigued, but you always have new legs in there. You're real deep on that bench. Right.
I think it's a couple of things. You're right. Having that depth is important. It gives you options. But the other thing about it is, it's competitive. It's competitive in practice. We have good practices just because they're competitive. And the guys are, we don't necessarily, scrimmage varsity versus sophomores. The sophomore teams, things like that. We're usually varsity versus varsity, and sometimes varsity versus JV. So we have competitive practices, and I think that makes us better, and it has this season in particular. So, but you're right. There is a fatigue level, and we're cautious about that now. The practices are starting to get a little bit shorter, and more of a conservation mode as far as your energy level, more focused mentally. Then things were when you practice 2.5, maybe 3 hours at the beginning of the season. You're working on your stamina. You're working on all aspects of the game, and now it's situations. It's fine tuning things, and it's trying to save some legs on some guys so they can give maximum effort every Tuesday and Friday night. And this week, Wednesday and Friday. Yes.
Last Friday at the game at Blue Springs, Blue Springs came out real big and strong right in the first few minutes of the game. How did you get your players
Yes,
calm down?
they did. Good question. They did come out very aggressive, too aggressive for us, and you notice. And so, how did we get our guys back under control? Well, we did make some early shots. All right, that was part of it. and they did. We played a different defense, and something that we played last Tuesday also. But one of the things about it was it kind of gives some guys some opportunities to see the basket a little bit better because we're not guarding them as hard as we're guarding some other players. So with that being said, they hit some shots, and then they got a long rebound and a 3-on-1, 4-on-1 fast break, and their Clark kid got up and got after the rim pretty good on a dunk, and so that forced us to call a timeout. But we got settled down, and we got control of the game, and pleased with where we were at halftime, being down 2, because we didn't play well offensively. We missed some shots. But in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, things started clicking, and we ended on a pretty nice run. And at one point, it was a 9-0 run, I think, 10-0 run, something like that, and ended up winning by 23 down there to a team that we lost to here at home. So those are always nice ones to get some revenge on, a team that beat you early in the year, and then you get after them a little bit at the end of later in the season. So really proud of our guys, especially in the fourth quarter, on how we performed. Yes?
Coach, on Tuesday, you were only down by 2 going into halftime.
Right.
And then that lead quickly spread out. What do you do to keep your guys calm and have that intensity in the second half that you had in the first half?
Right. It's a great question. We on Tuesday night against Blue Springs South, right where we wanted to be. One possession game at halftime. Their big 3, Pogue, Pitts, and Booker combined for 0 points that first half. And so what else could you? I mean, they had some subs that hit some shots, but we were right where we wanted to be. And then wheels kind of fell off in that third quarter. We missed some shots, and they did not. And that was the third quarter was the difference in the game. We didn't quit. We fought back, made it a 10-point game. But if we would have played up to our capabilities the third quarter, who knows what the outcome could have been. We would have liked our chances. So then Friday night we're in the same predicament, down 2 at half, playing a good team that beat us earlier in the season. And we made note of it. We talked about it. Hey, we put it right there out there on the table in front of them, saying, "Look, guys, we're in the same situation we were Tuesday night. What are we going to do about it this time?" And we made a point to tell them that the first 2 or 3 minutes of the third quarter, those minutes were going to be crucial to the outcome of the game. We won those minutes, and I think that gave us momentum going into the fourth quarter, where Kellen Turner played very, very well on both ends of the floor. Max was his solid, consistent self too, and Eric Greeley made some spectacular plays too. So, I think that just understanding the situation, knowing what needed to be corrected. We brought that to their attention, and they did it, and so the credit goes to them. Yes?
I know you've been coaching for a while, but what is one thing that you'd say you've improved on this season? We talk a lot about the players, but what is one thing you'd say that you've improved on?
Oh, that's a good question. One thing that I've improved on? You stumped me, Briz. I have no idea. I mean, I'm constantly, all the time. It's continuous. You're in the grind of a season, and for myself, it's hard for me sometimes to take my mind. Okay, what can we do as a team? I'm always thinking, okay, team. What are the areas that we need to work on? How can we improve different lineups, different rotations, wrinkles on offense, wrinkles on defense? I'm always thinking, constantly. It's hard for me to sometimes step back away from it, even in my downtime. When I'm out riding my bike, I'm thinking about basketball and stuff like that. So for me, it's more hey, how can I help the team? Did probably, it would probably be a good question for our players to see, because I'm not thinking too much about myself. Maybe patience, I don't know, because it's kind of been an up and down year, a little bit of a roller coaster, but maybe patience. But yeah, you'd have to ask the players that. They might have a better answer than mine of myself.
All right, Coach McCabe just talked about his 21% shooting performance.
Yeah.
Obviously, every coach has hills and valleys that they go through the season, and this is for all sports basically. How do you explain the ups and downs and why it happens, and just out of the blue, a 21% shooting performance comes out? And where did that come from? I don't know if there's a real answer to it, but how does a coach deal with that as far as trying to keep the team level?
Yeah. Well, there's just, athletics. I was listening to sports radio the other day, and the opening of the show was about reality TV and how sports is. They have all these reality shows that I would even consider watching on TV, but the reality of athletics is just so unbelievable that it's life, and there are ups and downs, and it's funny that you asked that question about how odd things happen, because I opened up practice yesterday saying, it's a crazy time of year, guys. I said, who would think that Florida State and Miami would go into Cameron Indoor and both teams beat Duke? MU going on an 11-0 run? Go figure that out. How does that happen? And then we've had some meltdowns per se, where we've given up a 21-point lead and had to hit a last-second shot, fortunately, to win it. Watch the team Saturday have an 18-point lead and with 10 to go and lost it. So, there's just it's crazy, and sometimes there's no explanation for it, but a lot of it is I think is just strictly momentum. And how teams play with it at the right time, and then how some teams just it's not even considered to have a positive thought or will to win, or the ball doesn't bounce out their way or something like that. So it's hard to explain. It's tough. But it's something about life, it's something about the game, and it's something about all athletics. Phil Jackson, the Lakers, just a couple years ago, I remember watching a game where they were up 31 and lost it. And that's with Kobe and Phil Jackson and the whole squad. There's things that shouldn't happen to them, but it does. It's part of it, and it's just it's very similar to Michael Jordan. Missing a lot of game-winning jumpers. He hit a lot, but he also missed a lot. And so you're not going to win them all. You sure try to, but I think it's sports, kind of a little microcosm of life in general, and there's a lot of roller coasters and ups and downs, and it's how you deal with those things that are ultimately going to make you successful. Well, hey, thank you for coming out this morning. I really appreciate it. Always enjoy this time, Tuesday morning. So I hope everyone has a great day. Go Jays, and we'll see you down the road.
A big thank you to the following sponsors who made this press conference possible on KLPS Channel 18. IV. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, Pony Express Bank, and The Landing.